Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Um, we've been talking about Michael Irvin. In fact, last weekend we got a chance and an opportunity to see Michael Irvin in Chantilly, Virginia, at an autograph signing, and got a chance to actually talk to him. Got you guys a few clips of Michael Irvin. His joy does not seem to be lost, and Michael Irvin was like Michael Irvin that I've seen in the past and stuff. Very outgoing, very engaged with people and things. Not like a lot of players, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that may get Michael Irvin in in trouble because he is such an outward person, he is such a friendly person that he'll stop and talk to you at the drop of a hat. And that's not typical with all NFL players and things. A lot of them are kind of like, yeah, okay, don't bother me. But be that as it may, Marriott has answered the allegations in the Arizona court. Now, if you're just getting into all of this, Super Bowl week, we'll just kind of get through this real quick. Super Bowl week, the week before, Michael Irvin's already in Arizona staying at the Renaissance Marriott Hotel um, for coverage. He's put there by the NFL for accommodations. He ended up doing taping on Sunday, ended up going out with a friend who we've actually had contact with between 7 and 11, out to eat, a couple of drinks, gets dropped off at the hotel, meets some people, takes pictures with them, and then has an interaction of about 2 minutes in the hotel lobby, which is filmed by Marriott. In which case, Marriott alleges that he has harassed the employee to the point where they did their investigation and they returned that investigation to the NFL, which removed him from coverage. Michael Irvin, of course, goes through, has a $100 million lawsuit against them. Okay, that's the quick story on this. The case originally was put in Texas because, of course, Marriott was not forthcoming in any of their evidence with Michael Irvin's people. So they took it into a Texas rocket docket court, which ended up making them produce the tape. At every turn of this case, as far as the legality of it, Marriott has been kind of knocked back because they did not want the tape to come out. They made all kinds of reasoning that, it's proposed uh, threats to the hotel, it posed threats to the individual, and so on. They didn't want to release it, and so on, yada, yada, yada. Three times the court system basically said, no, you got to turn it over, and they finally did turn it over. Okay, Michael Irvin removes the case in Texas because it needs to be in either Arizona or in Maryland because of, I'm sorry, Delaware, because that's where the parent company is. So the new court system in Arizona has actually been filed. So Michael Irvin's filed his case for $100 million. Actually, I think that $100 million actually is left open-ended for the court system to decide. And now Marriott has responded. And when you responding to this is like when you are arraigned. When you're arraigned, nobody pleads guilty. You're not going to admit that I did this because you're hoping that the courts go ahead. You've got your case, you got your attorneys and all that. They're going to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to run this case through and we're going to try and win. If you say, yeah, I'm guilty of this, there's no trial. So you expect Marriott to deny pretty much everything that's on here. Well, they didn't deny everything. They ended up saying Michael Irvin, put at the hotel by the NFL, stayed there. That's the only thing that they pretty much didn't deny in this case. Um, the thing that's interesting is some of the things that they did deny, seemingly, they didn't really need to deny. They're denying different pieces of evidence in this. For example, they are basically saying that we didn't know, we don't know about the partnership with the NFL. That this partnership has got nothing to do with, it doesn't exist, and that they are part of the Marriott chain. It's the Marriott Renaissance Hotel. But be that as it may, But it sounds like, from what they filed, that they did the investigation, and they deny. Here's where it's really interesting. They deny that there's witnesses. The guys that were TMZ, along with the guy that I spoke with, who was with Michael Irvin, dropped him off immediately before the interaction that happened. So you can go through. He's a witness who could talk about the state of Michael Irvin, who could back up Michael Irvin, whether or not he had been drunk and incoherent. And then you have the other guys that were there walking up with the interaction that began, whether or not he flagged her down or whether she flagged him down. They were all there in a group. They were within 20 feet of the interaction. And of course, they may not give the story that Marriott wants to have, but all of these things are witnesses to getting to the truth. Ultimately, without sound between the two of them, you don't know what the conversation is. But is any statement that is made there deemed enough to lose your job? They also deny, this is really kind of cool. Defendant admits media reported the NFL issued a statement that Michael Irvin was not part of the NFL Network's Super Bowl coverage. Defendants lack knowledge or information significant to form a belief as to the truth of the allegations that the plaintiff was pulled from NFL coverage, the assignments of his field work, which alleges and therefore deemed denied. Defendant defines remaining allegations in the paragraph of the complaint. They're basically saying, oh, well, what happened here? That didn't have anything to do with us having him pulled. They also denied, I've got my notes here, they've also denied the partnership, like I said, between the NFL and Marriott. So understanding that there's a partnership, of course, means what you have to say has more weight because we're paying you guys. Saying that they didn't know that this would hurt his job status. They deny that he is banned from any of the Marriott properties. And all of this stuff goes to reckless indifference, I think is the term that they call it, which is malice to the situation. The thing about this is some of the things that they denied are pretty much out there. When you say there are no witnesses, everybody has seen these witnesses. You've seen one of them here on this channel. To say that there are no witnesses, that the only people there are the people who work for Marriott, without even talking to the person who is allegedly the abuser, just seems like you didn't really do the work. We'll see what the courts have to say about this. Now, interesting note that's in here, there is more and more details, and it seems like Marriott was the lead detective on this and basically gave the report to the NFL. Jane Doe, part of her responsibilities are the dust cutter. We don't know what her other responsibilities are at the hotel, which is interesting because then the question becomes is, you know, what do you do at the dust cutter, and where does that interact as far as with the clientele, so to speak. So we're going to keep up with this situation right here. The thing I will say, I'm not an attorney. Don't even pretend to be an attorney. But as a person from the outside, pretty much everything that Marriott has done in responses to, you know, we've gotten death threats basically, and, you know, bad publicity and everything else, and they didn't want to give up the tape, or if we give up the tape, Michael Irvin's just going to use it as propaganda. Every situation dealing with the courts, it feels like there's an arrogance with Marriott that we are, you know, we're Marriott, of course, we are right. We don't have to prove anything. And that's where it may be their downfall, because they definitely, I don't know whether they are ones that should be an investigator. I thought that was actually the police.
The propriety of his behavior.
I thought that was the police. But their investigation is only one-sided. There's not a whole encompassing investigation here. And they made a judgment that literally changed a man's livelihood without getting all of the facts. I'm Mark Holmes, and if anything else happens on this, we'll be sure to bring it to you. I'll see you soon.